Strasburg.
Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I am your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
Oh, you sound tired, doesn't it?
I yawned right as I said that. I'm Corwin Heller, by the way.
Yeah. This is Juicing the Numbers, your statistics and sports podcast. And today we'll be talking a little bit about baseball. We are currently in the off season, in the midst of the winter meetings, which is when all GMs get together and talk free agency. They talk to players, they talk to reps, they talk about rule changes, the whole nine. Scott Boras says a bunch of wild nonsense, and we've had a little bit of movement so far. You ready to talk about it all?
Oh, 100%.
Well, first I wanna ask.
What do you want to ask me? Josh, did you die? You did die. That's pretty funny. In the
Test.
arms of an angel.
Corwin?
Hey, there you are.
Fuck me. What the fuck is going on? God damn it, Discord. Corwin?
Yeah, I'm here.
Dude, Discord keeps doing this to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's some bullshit. My God. I don't remember where I was at, so I'm just going to kind of pick it up from the beginning.
Sounds good.
So, Corwin, before we get started today, I have a few Scott Boras quotes I'd like to read to you and get your opinion on.
Ooh, Scott Boras is always good for a nice quote.
For anyone unaware, Scott Boras is, I guess, like the biggest baseball player manager, or I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Agent.
Thank you. Jesus. Because player manager is a different thing in baseball. He's the biggest baseball agent. He's currently just this offseason representing Garrett Cole, Steven Strasburg, and Anthony Rendon. The three biggest free agents. So
he's probably the biggest sports agent in all of sports.
That's also
I don't know about, internationally, but I definitely know that there's nobody like him in football. And I've never heard of agents in basketball or hockey. So,
yeah, it's pretty rare to know many agents' names. Boras also represented Bryce Harper, who signed his record-breaking deal last winter or last spring. Yeah, he's got to be the most famous because I can't think of anyone else, any other agent. I can think of a few in baseball, but I can't think of any other agent that makes headlines as regularly as Scott Boras because of just how gigantic his clients are.
oh, totally.
He's also very well known for saying bizarre metaphors during this time of year. Last year, a lot of them were nautical, and this year, we start with ornithological. So, Corwin, here's a Scott Boras quote. MLB teams are like birds. There's some hummingbirds that buzz around. Sparrows get something they can't carry the weight of. A lot of owls who are wise and work at night. A lot of hawks, and you don't want to be an ostrich because they lay the biggest eggs. And the Mets, meanwhile, are birds of a different feather.
Sure.
I just defy you to tell me what that means. All right, so let's break it down. So, the first one are hummingbirds.
Okay.
They buzz around. So I'm guessing those are the chatty guys, like Jerry DiPoto of the Mariners.
Sure. That would make sense.
Sparrows get something they can't carry the weight of. That sounds like teams giving out contracts bigger than they can handle. Like maybe
What kind of bird was it?
Hummingbird, sparrows. Sorry, sparrows.
Sparrows. I was really hoping it was swallows so we can make some Monty Python jokes.
A half-laden swallow, or an African swallow, a European swallow.
African or European. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would guess this would be like maybe the Angels trying to pay for Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, and Garrett Cole all at the same time, or like the Rays inquiring about big market free agents that they know they can't afford. A lot of owls who are wise and work at night. I'm assuming that's just people who do their job, or like the late night crowd. I'm picturing just big market. I don't even know what that. I don't have anything for that one. I feels like every team does that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hawks, a lot of diligent people. Again, that feels like everyone.
I feel like the Yankees would be a hawk. They're trying to snag everybody. They're trying to sign Strasburg. They're trying to sign. Well, tried to sign Strasburg. Trying to sign Cole. Maybe they'll go after Rendon, but I doubt it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they went after Rendon. And you
That's
don't want to be an
pretty.
ostrich. I think the ostrich one makes sense. You don't want to go into the winter meetings just lay an egg. So we
But all birds
roundabout
lay
way of
eggs.
getting to that metaphor. But what'd you say?
All birds lay eggs.
I think it's the virtue of like an ostrich egg being the biggest egg. Uh, like I get that one. I think the most is basically it's you don't want to just screw the pooch and nothing gets done. You don't want to hang a 0 up on the board there. Not a great way of putting it, but I think I pretty much get that one.
How much time do you think he spends in the off season coming up with this, like these kind of things?
So that's the subject of much debate. Is like, are these things that he has like on deck, or are these things he comes up with like off the cuff? And I have to think he prepares them because he always has so many. And like he texted that one, I think, to Ken Rosenthal because he doesn't have Twitter. It's
I
just
guess, yeah. I honestly can't say I've ever seen, Boris tweeting anything, obviously, if he doesn't have one, but I don't think I've ever thought about him not having one in general. I feel like someone like of his notes in the baseball world would be on Twitter all the time.
yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it?
Hmm.
I was gonna say, but I guess what reason does he have to be on Twitter? But really, that question should be asked of literally everyone on Twitter.
Yeah, what the fuck am I
So,
doing on Twitter,
what
honestly?
are all of us doing on Twitter? Like anyone who has less than 10,000 subscribe or followers, like what are we doing on Twitter? Like nothing. We're talking to no one. But
We're
here we
posting
are
some
doing it.
fire memes.
Yeah, some real fuego shit. So speaking of Steven Strasburg, he he recently set a couple of records. He re-signed with the Washington Nationals. Which first off, surprised or not surprised?
Not surprised. I guess I'm a little surprised with the actual size of it and what it ended up being.
But just him going back to the Nationals.
Oh, not surprised at all.
Yeah, I'm not either. Especially after we looked at their payroll together, and I realized it was as fucking low as it was. This one feels quite right. He signed for 7 years, $245 million for an AAV, average annual value, I should say, of $35 million per year. The $245 million total is the largest free agent pitching contract ever, beating out David Price's $217 million by nearly $30 million. And the $35 million AAV is also a record, beating out Zach Greinke's, I think, 24.2 or so. We did talk about that one recently, and we said that Clayton Kershaw does have a higher AAV, but that was not a free agent contract. That was an extension. So small caveat there. Um, so both those being records, Corwin, what do you make of this contract?
I don't hate it. Um, it is what it is. Wow, I say that a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money. Strasburg's going to be real old by the end of it, but he is one of the best pitchers in baseball. You just won a World Series with him. They're going to try and do it again. Um, I mean, I like it. They have the money for it. Why not sign him to a big deal?
Yeah, I will definitely start by saying yes, they have the money for it. They should do it. Why not do it? They did do it. All is well. Um, So on the other hand, Strasburg had remaining on his pre-existing contract, the one he opted out of in order to get this, was 4 years and $100 million. So basically, the Nationals just gave him a 3-year, $145 million contract, which is a bananas way of looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know if I like looking at it like that. I
Because
feel like it
that's like
takes a lot of context out of it.
that's like a 3-year 40. That's like $48 million a year. AAV on a 3-year 145. So look, if you want Strasburg on your team, you paid what you had to get him, and you hope that he learns how to adjust as time goes on. For reference, this contract will end in his age 38 season, which is currently how old CC Sabathia is, if you want context.
How much would he
And
make that year, do you know?
he would make $35 million that year.
Yeah, that's a lot for CC Sabathia this year.
Wait. Oh, you asked about CC?
No, but I'm saying, like, if you're getting a 38-year-old former, superstar, all NBA type pitcher, $35 million is a lot for a 38-year-old starting pitcher.
Yeah, CC Sabathia this year made $8 million.
And you know what? That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, honestly, fine with me. Now, granted, a lot of this is going to be in deferred money. The Nationals are one of the teams that love deferred money. Basically, it's exactly how it sounds. Part of this contract will be paid well over the lifetime of the contract. Orders of years being varied. So this could end up being 20 years. It could end up being 10 years of additional post-contract terms, money being doled out. But still, the way to look at it is kind of just basic division here, and that's a fuck ton of money. God damn. What would you do with $245 million?
Josh, here's the thing. I don't know what I would do with $1 million, let alone $245 million. You could essentially just do whatever you want. Like you could live the rest of your life without wanting money while also being like a scumbag coke fiend buying yachts type rich.
Yeah, I would definitely pay off all of my student loans, and then with the remaining 78 cents, I would I'd do nothing because 78 cents is useless. Yeah.
If you did not say that joke, I was going to.
Yeah, no, I was gonna be like, I'll go buy myself like a sandwich at McDonald's, but you can't even get that for 78 cents. What kind of McDonald's with the 78 cents? They'll put it in the tip jar and slap you across the face.
It's very true. I feel
So
like you could crowdsource 12 cents or 22 cents from McDonald's.
I don't know, man. That McDonald's crowd can get kind of dicey. Depends on which Mickey D's we're talking about here.
That's true.
So, shall we look at some stats, my friend?
Well, that is what we do here.
So we talked about this last week when we were looking at how many dollars were spent on war, and I made a little spreadsheet, guys. So let's go to that. And this is kind of a weird layout because I try to make this readable, which only makes it worse. So if you go to so if we open the spreadsheet and we look at column G, row 1, which is a weird way of doing this, but that's how I did it. It says that Steven Strasburg's last 3 years WAR, wins above replacement, is 15.3. And dividing that by his new contract of $245 million means that he is getting paid about a little bit over $16 million per WAR.
That is so much money per WAR.
That's a lot of money in general. I mean,
Granted,
my
like
God.
that's not like he's missing out on a season because of injury, so that's bringing his total number of WAR down over the last 3 years.
Yeah, you can
But
definitely add at least 2 more WAR onto this, if not 3.
if we're just looking at price per WAR, that's astronomically high. I think if we look at it as this is Steven Strasburg, at the peak of his prime, yeah, okay, it's probably worth it.
Yeah. Well, one would think. So, it's worth it now. We'll see. We'll see if it ends up being worth it later on. Anyway, so what I wanted to see, and I know Steven Strasburg is over his age 30 season. He's now 31, I believe. That sound right to you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he was 2 years older than Cole, who's 29.
Yeah, so this part's a little bit more geared towards Cole, but it's a little bit of both. So what I did was I wanted to see what the leaderboard looked like for starting pitchers, careers before their age 30 season, so up to and including their age 29 season by WAR, and then seeing how much they should have been paid given Steven Strasburg's price per WAR of about $16 million. Sound good?
Sounds great.
I assume that sniffle was a yes.
That sniffle was me being sick.
So,
Bitch. Sorry.
Walter Johnson is one of the most famous baseball players of all time. Walter Johnson is an inner circle Hall of Famer amongst inner circle Hall of Famers. He is
What?
He's one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone unfamiliar with him? He played for the Washington Senators back in the day. His total lifetime WAR is 164.3.
Yeah.
It's a lot. He is the all-time leader in shutouts. He has 110.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he won 2 MVPs, and he led the leagues in a lot of things during his time. Led in FIP a bunch of times, led in WHIP a bunch of times, led in ERA plus a bunch of times. Just a bucket full of strikeouts. I mean, what a career. And so he played from age 19 to age 39. And going from his age 19 to 29 season, he accumulated 98.8 WAR.
That's a lot of WAR.
It's fucking nuts. It's fucking.
Do you think he was good at baseball, Josh?
I think he was great at baseball, my friend. Fucking ridiculous, man. Goddamn near 100 WAR before he turned 30.
That's insane. 98.8 WAR in a career itself is,
Ridiculous.
First ballot Hall of Famer, no questions asked. Who even does that? Like, how do you get 98 WAR? Doing it before you're fucking 30 is like almost at Mike Trout level as far as being the best all time.
Well,
That was
speaking of which, Mike Trout could, in theory, I guess, do this. He would need. No, he can't. He really can't. I'm sorry. I was gonna say he needs 13 WAR for the next 2 seasons to do it, and
You
Mike
don't think
Trout's
he could
great.
get 13 WAR in the next 2 seasons?
No, each season.
Oh.
Each season. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he's great. He's so great. He's really, really great. 13 WAR season, we're talking peak Barry Bonds, peak Babe Ruth. It's not happening.
God, what would it be like if he actually got 13 WAR in a season? Like, what kind of numbers would he have to put up?
All right, well, let's see what his highest season by WAR is right now, because he also gets a boost from defense that Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds would not have gotten or did not get because they didn't play the premium position that he plays. So as of right now, Mike Trout's best season is actually a tie by WAR between 2012 and 2016. Each year he put up 10.5. Do you care which one we go with?
Nope.
Let's see. Did he play more games than one? What's what? He played more games in 2016, so I guess we'll go with that one. So he had 681 plate appearances, 123 runs. Not that that matters. 173 hits, 32 doubles, 5 triples, 29 home runs, 100 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, 116 walks, 137 strikeouts, a slash line of 315, 441, which led all of baseball, 550, good for an OPS of 991, an OPS plus of 172. Sorry, OPS plus of 172, also led all of baseball, and 12 intentional walks. He also won the MVP. So, where would he get 3 more WAR there?
Probably more home runs, probably a better average, a couple more
Better than
RBI.
315? 315 is pretty fucking high. I would say a
Yeah, I'm
higher.
just saying, like, he could improve in that area. Like, not saying it's lacking. I'm just saying if he were to do that, that would be a pretty good way of improving that WAR.
Yeah, I definitely am with you on the home runs. It's weird to think that 29's not a lot, but 29's not a lot.
Not anymore.
Um, Also, doubles I think could be increased.
Hmm.
Not because a 32 is really fucking good, but as long as we're giving him extra shit. If you gave him 11 more home runs, throw it up to 40, and like 8 more doubles, so he's got 40 doubles, 40 home runs, that would bump up his slugging a fuck ton. Um, I could see 3 extra WAR being squeezed on out of there.
I mean, especially if he keeps improving the home run numbers the way he has been. If
Yeah,
he can
sit.
start pushing 50 home runs, Mike Trout is, unstoppable.
Yeah, that is actually since that year, 2016, he has increased his home run total every single year. 2017, 33, 2018, 39, and 2019, 45. He's so fucking good at
I
baseball.
really want him to get to 50.
And you know what? He's never going to just because God hates us.
God loves Mike Trout, but he hates the rest of baseball fans.
Yeah, well, he especially hates the Angels. Well, does he like Mike Trout or does he hate Mike Trout? Because Mike Trout's never going to go to the playoffs again. And
Um,
Anaheim should just accept
I
that.
don't know. If they signed Garrett Cole, I could see them making a playoff at some point.
Oh, they are not signing Garrett Cole.
I think they will.
I genuinely don't.
Really? Not
Yeah,
enough
I
money?
I just don't see where they. You know, they just gave Mike Trout $430 million, right?
Yeah, and he's still undervalued.
I know, but like they still gave him the money, and then they're also paying like what, like 25 million a year for Pujols or some shit,
Oh
and
man.
like there's so much money in there. Uh, just between those two players, yes, but like also just it dumped into the rest of the shit team they put together. That I just don't know how they parse together the dollars for him. Also, fuck the Angels, but that's just me. So, anyway, Walter Johnson had 10 seasons under his belt in his pre-age 29, sorry, his pre-age 30 career. That brings him to 9.88 WAR per year for 10 years, which is fucking nuts. And if you took his WAR per year and um, multiply that by Steven Strasburg's, uh, sorry, per WAR earnings, that means every year Walter Johnson should have been earning $158.2 million.
What is that within? Well, I guess that wouldn't be inflated. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot. And to just round out his pre-age 30 earnings, it would be $15.6 billion.
Oh man.
It's just so much money. It's just so much money.
Especially if he got paid that in 1907. How
Oh
much
well,
do you
that
think $15.6 billion would relate to 1907? I guess we could find one of those inflation calculators. I'll do that.
He'd own a continent, honestly. He like the Angels would be like, Walter, we can't pay you in dollars, but we can pay you in chunks from the land known as Asia. And he would go, what use do I have for such trivialities?
2019. Oh, what? Oh, sorry. We have to do 2018.
Oh, what a shame.
And then
Oh, I have a 2019
1907.
one. Sure. Yeah, that's a good year.
Oh my God. All right.
How much is it? You counting the zeros?
I'm counting the zeros. They don't put commas in this. This is
That's
annoying as hell.
infuriating.
$431 billion.
Yeah. Ooh. Wait, it only tripled? I feel like that should be a lot higher. Oh no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong number. All right, that makes
by
sense.
30.
Yeah, my bad. I was looking at his There's so many commas in these things. It's tough to differentiate. Shall we go to the next pitcher on this list?
Yes, we can.
So the next pitcher is fun. Next pitcher is Kid Nichols. Kid, as he is known professionally, apparently, pitched from 1890 to 1906. He had 9 seasons under his. That's his age 20 seasons. His age 36. He pitched 9 seasons under the age of 30. In that time, he accumulated 96.9 WAR, which is fucking nuts. He's another Inner Circle Hall of Famer, a career total WAR of 116.1. His average WAR per year in those 9 years he played before turning 30, he accumulated. He was worth on average 10.8 WAR. We'll say 10.8 WAR per year. If you gave him Steven Strasburg money per WAR, then that contract, he should have been paid $172.4 million per year.
Again, that is quite a bit of money.
And if you gave him that contract or that sum of money every year for the duration of his pre-30s, he would have gotten $16.7 billion.
Like this number in 1907 is like for inflation is essentially the US GDP.
Oh yeah, especially because this one we're talking about the 1890s. We're not even talking about we haven't hit industrial revolution really yet. We're just starting out there.
You could have bought the US in 1890 with that kind of money.
Yeah.
I assume so. I don't know what purchasing laws were like back then, but I'm sure if you walked up with cash, I guess cash back then, if you showed up with $2019, they'll laugh you out of the place. But yeah, I'm sure the president back then would be like, yeah, fuck it. I could retire on this. Here's the keys to the castle.
I'm going to sort this by largest to smallest to see who's getting the highest AAV here. And it is Jim Devlin. Does that ring any bells to you?
No.
Yeah, not a single fucking one. That's in part because he did not pitch for a long time. And he pitched from 1875 to 1877. So he existed. And he only pitched three seasons. And in those 3 seasons, I made a calculation error, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't really change
What
that
else
much.
is new?
Whoa. Anyway, he pitched. He was worth 30.2 WAR. And my calculation error was that I forgot that when you're counting years, you also count the starting year. So all of my years are 1 year shy. So this has 2 years. It should be 3. But as long as the error is across all boards, I don't really care. Anyway,
Yeah,
so I have his
fine.
average WAR per year at 15.1, which is fucking ridiculous. And that means that if you gave him Steven Strasburg money per WAR, his WAR per year would garner him a yearly salary of, you ready, Corwin?
I'm ready.
$241.8 million in 1 year. Steven Strasburg's nearly his entire contract.
Man, I wonder, I don't even know how to like phrase this. So I'll get back to this. I'm just so taken aback by how much fucking money that would be if you signed him to an actual contract.
And that's one fucking year. Like, could you imagine like
Oh
the
yeah.
Nationals signed Strasburg to a 1 year, $200 million contract?
Or who was it like last year or 2 years ago who signed like a 10, 12-year contract?
Aaron Hicks signed a 10 year last year. Bryce Harper signed a 13
Shit.
year last year.
That was it. The 13-year Bryce Harper one. I
Yeah.
forgot about the Aaron Hicks 10-year deal. That's still funny today.
Yeah, 10 years, $70 million, which is such a weird, like, old 90s contract where they kind of we're like, I want to play baseball for a long time and you don't have to pay me that much. And teams were like, okay. Um,
Do you
yeah.
think he approached the Yankees with that deal and they were just like, yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, we'll sign this right here. Okay. Sure, sure, sure.
No, I'm sure the Yankees approached him. I mean, it makes sense for both sides, but yeah, it's a weird, like in the context of how baseball contracts are doled out now, where it's like you're either getting 10 years and 180 to 220 million, or you're getting 3 years and 50. It's so weird to see a 10
Oh,
years for 70.
motherfucker.
What?
You know how so I just took a sip of water that I
Again
just
with you
had
like
in a
this?
glass. It was the same glass. I forgot to get rid of it. I
The
forgot.
fucking wax?
Yeah, like it's not like lumps of wax in there. It's got a nice waxy taste, and I forgot what it was. It was just a nice glass of water on my desk.
You're fucking filthy.
I'm disgusting. I'm not filthy. It's water. Water can't get dirty.
Water can't get dirty. Wise words from Corwin Heller. Water can get dirty. Clean your water. Uh, shall we? I want to talk about the next two pitchers on this list real quick. The
Sure.
next one
Is a
is
made up person.
one of my favorite names, Old Hoss Radborn.
No, no, no. That's not a real name.
It absolutely is. It
Like that
needs.
cannot be like something his parents were like, let's name him Old Hoss. I know he's brand new and just popped out of you, but let's name him Old Hoss.
His actual name is Charles Gardner Radborn, but I refuse to call him anything other than yo.
Do you just look that up?
Baseball reference. Baseball reference has apparently in their player information part of the page, the Twitter for everybody, and
Mhm.
Old Hoss Radburn has a Twitter.
What?
At Old Hoss Radburn is an
Oh my
actual Twitter
god, it's
account that
real.
exists in the world. Yes.
He has 75,000 followers?
Yo, he's been
What?
dead for like 100 years.
Josh, I
He's
hate
been
to
dead for
break this to you,
140
but
years.
I'd have to think it's not the actual guy.
I know it's not. Or sorry, 122 years. But still, like that's fucking nuts, man. It's so funny. Anyway, Old Hoss, as he is affectionately known, played from 1881 to 1991. He played for the Providence Grays, the Boston Bean Eaters, the Boston Reds, and the Cincinnati Reds. Um, didn't have a lot of. He started when he was 26, so he had 4 years of pre 30 playing time. I still haven't come up with a clean way of saying that, but it doesn't really matter. Uh, he would have been getting paid. You gave him Steven Strasburg money, uh, $236 million a year. A light sum.
Yeah. So just looking over his numbers, it still blows me away that these guys would start 73 games in a season.
Yeah, it's wild,
Like
isn't
I
it?
was looking at batter's face and I was like, "Oh, 2,672. That's a lot of batters. How many innings did he pitch? Oh, 6,800. That's a lot. How many games did he pitch in? Oh, 75 while starting 73. Excellent.
It's fucking just stupid. It's insulting to think anyone did
Whoa,
this.
whoa, 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 whoa.
What?
He started 73 games in 1884 and had 73 complete games,
Oh, you know he did.
but he only finished 2? That math doesn't add up.
Wait, hold on. I have to look at this page because now you've confused me. I didn't realize you.
Oh, games finished is games he comes in and then finishes the game. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Fuck, 73 complete games in a season.
I
I'm
like how he
assuming
also
that's
has
not
two
the
career
record
saves.
because baseball back in the day is insane, but that's definitely something that will never be broken in the history of baseball from here on out.
I would like to dive one day into the save records in 1883, since that's when Old Hoss got his first save, and that's just a comical number to me. I corrected the spreadsheet, by the way, to be a more accurate representation of years. So Old Hoss Radborn's AAV dropped down to a paltry $177 million.
Boo.
I know, such a disappointment. Truly,
What'd you do? Just add 1 to.
yeah. I literally just in my equation just put +1 and then just
Yep.
filled it down.
That's exactly how I did it.
Anyway, I'm going
Oh,
to jump down to everyone's favorite, the one of the most recognizable names in baseball, another just inner circle Hall of Famer.
Cy
Uh,
Young?
Everyone knows him, everyone loves him, everyone's seen his balls. Cy Young. Um,
Oh, wait, it actually was Cy Young?
yeah,
I was like, oh,
Cy
everyone knows Cy Young. Then what
Cy
the hell?
Young, the all-time career record holder in wins, 511, losses, 315, games started, 815,
Fuck you.
complete games, 789, meaning he only didn't finish 66 of his games, which is fucking ridiculous. Innings
Fuck.
pitched, 7,356. Hits allowed, 7,092. Earned runs, 21. Sorry, that's just regular runs. No, that is earned runs, 2,147. Batters faced, 29,565.
That's
Ooh,
a lot.
it's so, it's so many. It's
Yeah,
so
well, he's
many.
never even topped 43 games started in a season, so Old Hoss has him just fucking beat.
What do you think the most WAR he got in 1 year was?
Cy Young?
Yeah,
The limit does not exist.
just like give me a guess. He played
Um,
for a long time. He played for 22 years.
I'll say 11.
So 11 would be his fifth highest.
Fuck you.
Yeah. So 1893, he got 11.2 WAR. In 1895, he got 12. In 1901, he got 12.6. And his most career single season WAR came in 1892 as a member of the Cleveland Spiders. He got 13.9 WAR.
So you're telling me that Mike Trout needs to be peak Cy Young for the next 2 years in order to beat the record or
In
to get
order
to
to
100?
Yeah, in order to make it to 100. In 1892, you may ask, 36 wins on 12 losses. 36 wins led the league. 12 losses did not, which is bizarre. A 750 win percent, which led which led all of baseball. A 193 ERA, which led all of baseball. 9 shutouts, 48 complete games in 49 games started. He pitched 453 innings. He got 168 strikeouts, which is just hilariously low. 118 walks. He had an ERA plus of 176, a FIP of 276, a WHIP of 1082, a home runs per nine, because this is hilarious, 0.2. No one gave up home runs then. And a strikeout to walk ratio of 1.42. It's just great.
So I like thinking about this. If he pitched today, would he be a good pitcher?
Oh, probably not.
And what would happen if we put like Garrett Cole back in 1890?
He'd be Walter Johnson, but even better.
Like, would they build statues of him outside Little League parks because he's that good?
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
if I understand these guys don't know what spin rate is, but like if Garrett Cole or like a Trevor Bauer went back and started like coaching up these pitchers, like, yeah, no. We can't show you because we don't have any way of like measuring it or calculating any of this. But just trust me, this thing will get like 3,000 spins per minute when you throw it.
And
And
then
that's
they'll
how we're
burn me
gonna
for being a witch. Now, I think that the old time pitchers probably get short shrift. People always say that like, oh, they threw the ball like 80 miles an hour. But that's not true. Uh, if I had to guess, like Walter Johnson was a really hard thrower of the day, and there's been like actual scientific research that shows that he threw pretty fucking hard. Um, Not so much by today's standards, but by that standard for sure. So if I had to guess, I'd say that Walter Johnson was probably pumping in the 90s. Probably not high 90s, but probably in the 90s. So if you get Garrett Cole in there, who can, like reasonably throw 100, I mean, my God. But the problem is, no one would like playing Garrett Cole because he wouldn't, because, no, like as a coach, as a manager, because he wouldn't throw complete games.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because he'd have to save some of it in the tank. Because Garrett Cole throws a fuck ton of innings, but he'd have to throw significantly more because his manager would be like, he'd go to the dugout and be like, "All right, coach, like my arm hurts," and he'd go like, "Well, it's only the seventh, so get out there and hurl that ball, kid."
All
And
right,
Garrett
coach, I'm at
Cole would
100
go, "Okay,
pitches.
if not,
Yeah,
I'll
you're
kill you
only at
because
100
somehow I
pitches.
own you." Yeah. Anyway, let's see who made the most. I didn't actually talk about his Cy Young's numbers. So Cy Young had 7 years below his age 30 season. He accumulated in each of those years, on average, 9.3 wins above replacement. That means if you gave him Steven Strasburg's contract, he would get $148.5 million per year. It's a lot of money. That
Yeah,
is,
fuck.
whew.
I feel like he kind of got paid that back in the day. Maybe not that kind of money, but I feel like Cy Young was never strapped for cash.
It's tough to say because pro sports now we think of as being such a lucrative business if you're good, but it didn't really get to be like that for a while. And like Cy Young, his career started in 1890, and we're just starting to see pro teams form. So they don't have like a real like fan base yet to be bringing in big money from. There's certainly obviously no like TV deals or anything. I doubt they even had radio deals. So it's literally just whoever shows up to the ballpark's money that you're taking. So I'm sure his lifestyle probably wasn't awful, but like we don't really see lavish lifestyles until Babe Ruth, coming from pro athletes.
I
So
really want to make a movie now where we get like an old baseball player from, 1890, like Cy Young, bring him to 2019, and it's like, all right, yeah, everyone gets paid more money than the country you lived in made in a year. Uh, Everyone does drugs all the time. Beautiful fucking women that show more than their ankle. Yeah, and you're on TV, which you don't know what that is, but you're on TV every day, and just see what happens.
I've often thought about that. Like, what if you took? I don't know why my go-to is always George Washington in these thoughts, but what if you took George Washington and just like plopped him down in 2019? I think he'd kill himself. I
Oh man, like
I really do.
if you just dropped George Washington, like I guess if you just sat him in the corner of the Oval Office or like in the middle of like the impeachment proceedings, he would have an aneurysm.
Oh, he absolutely would. Total aside note before we move on entirely, did you know that Babe Ruth was the first professional athlete to have a personal trainer?
Really?
Yeah.
But he was so fat.
So that's the thing. Everyone always conflates like end of career Babe Ruth with Babe Ruth in his entirety, but Babe was a big fellow and a touch portly. But for the vast majority of his career, he was just kind of like a big guy, not necessarily a fat guy, just kind of a big guy. And
Right.
when he got the record contract where it was like I think $80,000 a year or some shit, like he was the first pro athlete ever to like go hire a personal trainer to the point where that was news. Like you can go find on YouTube footage of Babe Ruth working out with a personal trainer because it was a news story that an athlete was paying someone to work out with him.
Yeah. I always think of the picture of Babe Ruth sitting on the bench with Lou Gehrig and Miller Huggins, and like Babe just
So big.
looks huge compared to the Miller Huggins, but looks puny next to Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig was fucking enormous.
Yeah.
We got robbed of a what could have been a great end of career. A great probably like Jesus 7 more seasons out of Iron Horse, but
Why? What happened
such
to
is
him?
life. They took him out in the back.
Like Old Yeller?
Yep, yep. Old Iron Horse made him
Can
into glue.
we rename ALS to Old Yeller behind the barn disease?
It's a terrible name.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of terrible names in
How about like
the
the Iron Horse Extravaganza? Doesn't sound so bad. Why did he
I
die
just
of? He died of
imagine
Iron
someone
Horse
who's like
Extravaganza.
not aware of the name change, and like they go and like they're in a meeting with their doctor and the doctor tells them, they're like, "Oh, great, we get to go to a party. This is fantastic."
Oh no, you're gonna lose your legs or use of them anyway. Oh
Yeah.
no. So this is just interesting. I'm sorting it by years to see who had the most, and there's 3 different pitchers on this list with 13 years of playing time before they turn 30, which is a lot. Um, so let's start with the worst. Claude Osteen, never heard of you, lefty. He started his career in 1957 with the Cincinnati Reds when he was 17 and played until he was 35. So he had more years played under the age of 30 than he did over the age of 30, which I guess isn't that outrageous of a sentiment now that I say it. But I'll put it this way: he had more games played, or more years, I should say, because not a lot of games were actually played by this man. Um, but he had more years of service time in his teens than he did 35 and up, and that's just nuts.
Child labor laws just aren't what they used to be.
So he had 24.6 WAR in the 13 years that he played below the age of 30. Good for 1.9 WAR per year. And yet, at Steven Strasburg's rate, he would be getting paid 30.1 million per year. By far the most reasonable number we've said all day.
Yeah, I mean, that's an actual contract. This guy sucks.
Yeah, I know, right? That's granted that's Garrett Cole money, but still. Uh Larry Durker. Is that name significant at all to you?
No.
Yeah, it's not to me either. Larry Durker. He played from 1964 to 1977. Literally his entire career happened before the age of 30, barring his final season, which was at the age of 30. He played for the Houston Astros, banging on them trash cans, except for his last season. He played in St. Louis. Uh, yeah, started when he was 17. He accumulated in his pre 30 years 34.3 WAR, which is hilarious because you know what his career total WAR is
I do not.
31.9 because he was because he was worth negative WAR in his last year.
A good amount of negative war too.
Just hilarious. Uh, Anyway, he averaged 2.6 WAR in his per year in his pre 30 years. That's good for a contract of $42.25 million per year. which is a lot.
Nice chunk of change. Still, a plausible contract.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting to where it's questionable. We're getting to Mike Trout levels of what people should be paid, but it's a number. It's a number that's probably gonna happen. Uh, yeah, I have nothing else to say. The last one's a Hall of Famer, Bob Feller. Bob Feller, who was cruelly robbed of 3 years of playtime. I'll give you the years and it'll make sense. 1942, 1943, 1944, as
That
he
is
was
fine.
serving in the military. He played his entire 18-year career with the Cleveland Indians.
Go Tribe.
He amassed 63.4 WAR. He is, as I said, in the Hall of Fame. And he also debuted at age 17 in 1936. And he accumulated his average per year WAR 4.3. And that would have given him a contract of $69 million per year. Nice.
Yeah, that's not plausible anymore. That's a pretty nice number, but pretty nice doesn't mean it's, plausible.
And there we have it, Corwin.
Yeah, so turns out I don't make a lot of money compared to fictional salaries of past baseball players. But you know what? I still feel okay about it.
Can you just imagine old Hoss Radburn getting paid? Anyone getting paid 100 million? Guy Hecker is a
Sure, that's a name.
name. It certainly wants to be one. I'm gonna look up who he is while I'm talking. But Guy Hecker got a contract, a per year contract of 100, even enough, 100 even $1 million per year based on his WAR. And that's ridiculous. Guy Hecker, a 37.4 career WAR person, not in the Hall of Fame, pitched from 1882 to 1890, and his pre 30 WAR is 6.3 on average for his 4 years that he played as such, and he would have made $2.5 billion if he.
$2.5 billion.
And can you imagine a player, like an actual human being who plays a sport, earning $2.5 billion doing it in
Well, what about
4 years?
Walter Johnson making $14 billion? I
I
guess that was
know.
11 years, yeah.
Yeah,
Damn, like regardless, so much fucking money, man.
Kid Nichols, 15 million. Fucking Nichols.
Yeah,
Who was
fuck
the
that
most
guy.
recent pitcher? Jose
Felix was on
Quintana.
there.
Jose Quintana, 7 years, 3.5 WAR on average per year. So he should have gotten paid $56.5 million per year. Chicago White Sox got him for a song.
Chris Sale from 2010 to 2018, average per year salary of 76 million. Clayton Kershaw, 2008 to 2017, $93.8 million.
Oh, we skipped right over Steven Strasburg, who's on this list. He had 9
Oh
years of
yeah.
pre 30 play, 2.9 WAR per year. It's good for $46.8 million per year. He's
No. He
giving it
signed
away.
his contract. He knows what he's getting. He gets not a penny more.
All right, Strass. This is it this time. Okay, guys.
Hey, CC Sabathia made the list.
Oh, go CC. Yeah,
Oh, he
where's
makes a
his
nice number
fun
too.
name? We have Roy Oswald. There's a bunch of fun names on this one.
I know some of
Anyway,
these now that we're sorting by like the
recent.
most recent. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Clayton Kershaw should have gotten 93.8 million per year. That's hilarious.
I'd like to think that Clayton Kershaw listens to this podcast regularly, and he is going to bring this to his next negotiation.
Yeah, he's gonna bring this to the Dodgers front office and go, guys. This is how I imagine Clayton Kershaw talking because he looks like such a goofball. Guys, where's the rest of my money? And they're gonna be like, "You've made so much. I want more," and they're not gonna give it to him. That's how it goes.
So as I've been kind of like sifting through baseball reference just in a just rabbit hole, I landed on Mickey Mantle, who I honestly hate to say I didn't know much about. Holy fuck, guy was good.
You know what the craziest part about Mickey Mantle's career is?
What?
Did the entire thing hurt?
Really?
Yeah, so Mickey Mantle, who just for reference, because I just love reading out his accolades, he is in the Hall of Fame, a 20-time All Star, 3-time MVP, 7-time World Series winner, a
Three-time
batting
runner-up for
title.
MVP too.
I know it's ridiculous. He has a Gold Glove, batting title, Major League Player of the Year. Don't know what that is, and 110.3 WAR. Anyway, when he came on the scene, he was playing in the same outfield as Joe DiMaggio. And apparently, Joe DiMaggio was not a fan. I don't recall the reason why. Apparently, Joe could be a pretty cold guy to a lot of the younger dudes. So it could have just been a whole, like, I'm a vet, you're a rookie kind of deal. Like, fuck out of here. Plus, Mickey was like hot shit, and Joe was kind of like nearing the edge of his end of his career.
I have
And
a hypothesis when you're done.
okay. Anyway, he forced Mickey to run a weird route on a fly ball. I forget exactly the mythos behind it, but they were both kind of going out for it, and in some way, Joe had manufactured a way for Mickey Mantle to kind of end up chasing after this ball that he didn't really need to, and he ended up stepping in, of all things, a sewer grate in the outfield that was used as part of the a vintage draining system, and tore his knee up.
Yikes. They
And
don't
that
have the
was
ACL surgeries like they do today.
no, they do not. That's one of the things that contributed heavily to like Mickey Mantle's drug abuse and like alcohol abuse because he spent his whole career like
Didn't know he had those.
trying to recover from his injuries, which he like never really did. And so what's so fucking nuts about Mickey Mantle's career is that in theory it should have been better. And it's already stupid fucking good.
Yeah, like he finished
Like
top.
imagine Mike Trout, but he has to do all of it on like one leg.
Damn. Um, why is he listed as All-Star twice from like 59 to 62?
Oh, remember we talked about this. There was a weird
No.
stretch of time where there was there was like
Yeah.
8 years stretch where they had 2 All-Star games and it never made sense.
Right. Man, I remember that podcast now.
Yeah, we did that.
I was there.
What was your hypothesis there, guy?
Um, so I looked up a picture of Mickey Mantle when he was younger. Uh, guy was a stallion, to say
Oh
the
yeah,
least. Quite a looker. Joe DiMaggio, famously not. I bet he
Joe
fucked
DiMaggio,
Marilyn
an
Monroe, and Joe
ugly fuck
DiMaggio was
who
like not okay with that.
yes. Well that I don't know, but Joe DiMaggio is a weird looking dude, and I cannot believe he fucked Marilyn Monroe. Although apparently a lot of people fucked Marilyn Monroe. So, but Joe was married to her, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's like one of those great life mysteries of like, really? He
Her?
married like the babe of like 2 entire decades. Yeah, I guess a decade and a half. Like,
I know. He's so ugly.
oh, I'm sure Marilyn Monroe fucked the shit out of Mickey Mantle.
Um, so when Mickey Mantle was voted in to the Hall of Fame in 1974, he was on 322 out of 365 ballots. So 43 people fucking suck.
Well, didn't even like not Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth not getting well, obviously he didn't get a unanimous because that was
Mariano Rivera.
yes, but people are stupid.
Yeah, man, that's infuriating. Oh well. Any final thoughts in regards to today's show?
If you want to wait, I'm on a slideshow on people.com for Marilyn Monroe's most famous lovers. If you want to see if I find Mickey Mantle in here. Charlie
don't think you
Chaplin
are.
Jr.? What? Not even the real Charlie Chaplin? Milton Berle? All right.
Milton Berle, who famously
Wait.
has a gigantic cock.
Yeah. Natasha Lattès?
Who's that?
Her drama coach?
All right.
Elia Kazan?
She
Sure.
fucked Ilya Kazan?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Oh, man.
wonder
Yeah.
why
Oh,
she was-
it says here, quote unquote, Joe DiMaggio saying the ball. All right, hold on. Let me just start from the top. Kazan was a close friend of Monroe's until future. Jesus, I am so fucking bad at reading. Kazan was a close friend of Monroe's future husband, Arthur Miller, and also referred to Joe DiMaggio in his letters to Thatcher, saying the ball player beat up Monroe. Oh, that went a different way.
Do you think it's gonna be like beat up as in like fucked real good?
Oh no, I thought Joe DiMaggio like beat up Ilya Kazan. No, it turns out he just beat up Marilyn Monroe.
That's
That was a sad turn. I'm really regretting saying that now.
Shall we get out of here, good friend?
Apparently she also fucked both Kennedy brothers, Marlon Brando, Frank Sinatra, and Jerry Lewis. That's the end of the list. But yes, let's get out of here before I fuck up the.
Yeah, now that we've ended on Marilyn Monroe's coochie, let's just wrap up the show entirely.
I bet a lot of guys ended up on Marilyn Monroe's coochie.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at JuicelingPod. If you want to find our email, you can do so at juicingnumbers@gmail.com. Ready for the show to be over. Until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.